All right, Adrien Broner, Paulie Malignaggi. I picked Adrien Broner to win the fight, but I have to say I wasn't overly impressed. I expected more from Broner in this fight. Now, I did not expect him to knock out Paulie. Because Paulie is tough. And there's been guys that were at their natural weight and weren't coming up to weight classes who couldn't get him out of there. I mean, Paulie has been stopped, but Paulie has never been knocked out. And I didn't expect it to be any different this fight with Broner. But I did expect more action. Broner, to me, just seemed to stand in front of Paulie because he knew that he couldn't hurt him. And when Paulie was done working, then he would throw some shots. And that's not what I expected. I expected Broner to fight more, get on his toes more, and put on more of a show. Especially with such a, which I would say this would be Broner's biggest fight. But even with that said, Paulie worked. I think Paulie didn't get enough credit for working to the body. I mean, this was a hard fight to score, to be honest, because Paulie was doing good body work. He was hitting Broner where he could, even though Broner in that Philly shell was catching a lot of those punches on his on his elbows and on his arms. But I thought that Paulie had a pretty good game plan. The only problem was is that those punches that he was hitting Broner with, they just didn't have any steam on them. And Paulie was in good shape. I mean, he threw 850 plus punches. And generally, when a guy throws punches like that, he's in a good shape to win the fight. But I think that because Broner never appeared to be hurt, that kind of caused him to not win the fight. I mean, one judge had it for Paulie, and I think the 115, 113, maybe even 116, 112 is more like it. The 117, 111, I can't agree with that. With that card, but I think that if Paulie could have had some more pop on those punches, maybe the fight could have went a different way because every judge judges a fight a different way. With that said, I think Paulie fought his heart out, and I think it's tough when you lose not only at home, but when you lose your belt and you fight your hardest. As for Broner, what happens with him? Does he stay at 147? Does he go back down to lightweight? Does he go to super lightweight? I don't see him going back down to lightweight. The only fight down there is Ricky Burns, and Ricky Burns is already has another fight lined up coming in the fall. So my opinion for Broner is I like to see him go to super lightweight, and some of the fights there you got the Matisse Garcia winner, and that's if that fight is even made. I'm saying this hoping that that fight gets made. If those guys don't fight, I think he could fight either of those fighters at 140. You got Alvarado at 140. He doesn't have a fight coming up in the fall or the early winter this year, and I think that would be a decent test for Broner. What about Zab Judah? If Judah doesn't get the fight with Peterson, can he? I still think Zab looked pretty good in the Garcia fight. Does he pose a problem for Adrian with a southpaw style, and with the fact that Zab actually can crack if he can get through? And then Kareem Mayfield is another fight out there. That's another young fighter, youth against youth, and those are some decent fights I could see Broner taking at a super lightweight. But if he happens to stay at welterweight, I read somewhere that Maidana may be his mandatory, which would be a hard test for him because not necessarily saying that Maidana can crack that defense, but Maidana can crack, and I think it's going to be a different if he lands a right hand as opposed to Paulie landing a right hand. Then you got Shane Mosley out there. Not saying that I want to see that fight, but due to the fact that Shane just fought Cano and Paulie beat Cano, even though some people think Cano won, I could see Golden Boy trying to feed him Mosley. What about another young fighter, Keith Thurman? Now, this is a fight I would be interested in. Keith Thurman is a guy, maybe not with the skill set of Broner, but a guy who can crack. I mean, I would really love to see what would happen if that guy can touch Broner, because I think his body shots would be more thudding, and it would do more damage than Paul. And then last, I would say, what about Berto? He has a fight coming up next month. If he can win his fight with Karras, maybe that's a guy. I mean, a lot of people are not high on Berto, but I don't think that Berto Broner would be a bad fight. I mean, we know Broner's gonna. I mean, Berto was gonna come to fight, and he would definitely make Broner move, and he couldn't just stay there and absorb the punches like he did with Paulie. Anyway, that was my thoughts on Adrian Broner's win at welterweight against Paulie Malignaggi. What's your thoughts? Thanks for listening. Catch you next time.